It is for the distribution to members. Item numbered. Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for the distribution to members. Yes, Majority Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, now we will do 9B. 9B, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honourable members, presentation and first reading of bills. Item numbered 9B. Item numbered 9B. Yes, Majority Leader. Minister for Sports. The presentation of item numbered 9B is deferred. Yes, Majority Leader.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister is not here. So I will indulge you that we ask the Minister for Transport to do that on his behalf. We're just laying the paper, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I can speak.
Honorable Majority Leader, the presentation of this item is accordingly deferred. Any other business?
Mr. Speaker, indeed, yes, we have other businesses to conduct. Mr. Speaker, may we turn to the motions and take motion number 12, Mr. Speaker.
Motion numbered 12. Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to draw the attention of the majority chief whip. If we can rather do motion 11, 10 and 11 because the chairman is here, but the 12, the parliamentary affairs, the chairman is not here yet, so that we can get him to come. But we can do motion 10 and 11. My indication is that the chairman is here and he said so we can do that. If you are also opposed to government business, that's fine.
Mr. Speaker, I am not opposed at all, but why is the chairman not here? Where is your chairman? Mr. Speaker, where is the chairman? Produce your chairman. Speaker, we'll take...
Majority Chief Whip, that is opposition language.
Yes.
Where is your chairman?
Mr. Speaker, so in the event, we'll take 10 and 11 accordingly. Yes. So 10 first.
Very well. Item number 10 at page 11 of today's order paper. Chairman of the committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I move that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Committee on Public Administration and State Interest on the allocation of the sum of 97,170,976 for the services of the Office of Head of Civil Service for the year ending 31st December 2026. I so move.
Honourable members, motion moved. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
So, Honorable Chairman of the committee, in moving the motion, kindly present the committee's report.
Mr. Speaker, in presenting the report, I want the Hazard Department to capture the entire report as having been read. Mr. Speaker, we all know the functions, the core functions of the Office of Head of Civil Service. And we also realized that there were little issues relating to some of these functions. An amount of 76,304,797 was approved for the year 2025, out of which 61,982,000 was released. And with the release, an amount of 59,394,956.41 was expended. Right, Honorable Speaker, when you look at outlook for 2026, their core function was to continue with the review of the Civil Service Act and regulations for 1960, establish the service work crèche facility for the offices, strengthening of counseling units of the office, and among others, organize the 2026 Civil Service Week celebration and the 2025 award ceremony. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the observations, before I move to the actual figures, we realize that there's the need for some form of reforms of the government secretariat school, such that they will be more meaningful to the sector. With regards to their database and the archival materials, we realize that there are a lot of files piled up, and there's the need for us to get more funds for the center to preserve all these documents. And we realize that the budgetary allocation for the year 2025...
Honorable Member, the Hansard has captured all the report as having been read. Therefore, in conclusion...
Thank you very much. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, I therefore recommend to the House to adopt this report and approve the sum of 97,170,976 for the implementation of the programs and activities of the Office of Head of Civil Service for the year ending 31st December 2026. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, motion moved, report presented. Any seconder?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion listed 10 on page 11 of today's order paper, that the committee recommend the approval of 97,107,976 for the implementation of the programs and activities of the Office of the Head of Civil Service. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Deputy Majority Whip.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to the report on the floor. Mr. Speaker, I want to make a very quick observation about the report so that the ministry will take action on it. Mr. Speaker, if you turn to page 12 of the report, the officers reported to the committee. I was a member of the committee. They just sacked me from that committee without informing me.
Honorable Member, we know how committees are composed.
So, Mr. Speaker,
we know how membership of committees are supposed to be removed.
Mr. Speaker, just by the way, so, but the point remains that I've been sacked from that committee. And who is not a member
Honorable
of the committee?
member, let me substitute a correct word. You've been removed from that committee.
Okay, I've been removed.
Very well, very well. Continue.
Mr. Speaker, they have a school, and they train their own staff, and other people go there for training. But by the end of the day, when it comes to recruitment, they don't engage those people that they've trained. They go outside the people they've trained and engage different people. And they bring those people they've engaged for them to train them again. And it's a cost to the state. So this is something we need to fashion out and make sure that the people that they've trained should be migrated into the system than to train them, leave them, and go and engage different people, bring them to the institution for another training. So those people that you've trained, what is their use? So these are some of the things the institution must take up and make sure that we spend money, resources to engage those people, train them. Let's put them into the service than to bring new people, train them again. It doesn't make any economic sense to the institution. So these are some of the things the ministry must take up, and then we find a lasting solution to it. I support the committee's report so that we will approve the sum of 97,170,976 Ghana cedis for the operations of the institution for 2026 year. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Patrick Yawama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Just to add my voice to the motion on the floor and to draw attention to paragraph 7. It's not numbered, I think the second paragraph, that the civil service organized a sensitization workshop for offenses from 3 of its training institutions and 4 of its departments on the topic Understanding the Whistleblower Amendment Act 2023, Act 1103, as part of its effort to implement the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan. Mr. Speaker, why do I want to dwell on this? Mr. Speaker, very often corruption issues, politicians are the ones that the whole country or the world looks at. It's very important that the civil service structure is taking this necessary step to encourage the training of our civil servants. Mr. Speaker, a lot of things happen in the civil service structure with regards to corruption. And every government must be very serious about the efficiency of the civil service that it inherits. Because if you don't have a strong, competent civil service structure, all your policies, your programs will suffer. Mr. Speaker, so it's very important that government invest more in the training of our civil servants to adhere to clear guidelines and principles against corruption. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, if you look at there's a paragraph on PRAD, that's the Public Records and Archival Department, which is supposed to store valuable information and data across the country. Mr. Speaker, I think it's under paragraph 11.2. The agency lacks the requisite financing to be able to house some of the very important national data, and are requesting that the National Information Technology Agency, that's NITA, the agency be responsible in the storage of vital information. Mr. Speaker, but I think PRAD, as set out, must be given the necessary resources to be able to have its own database. Because in this world, Mr. Speaker, data is gold. And if we have all our public records that we require as a country, and PRAD is not being resourced, there come a time that we will need some vital information that will be missing. Mr. Speaker, I say this on record, that during the maritime dispute, Ghana had to go back to Prague for some very important documents to enable us litigate with our brothers on the West Coast, that's Cote d'Ivoire. So such an institution ought to be given the requisite resources. The database has to be modern, and the right personnel recruited to house the information that I'm talking about. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Yes, Honourable Asafo-Adjei. Then I'll come to Honourable Adongo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To paragraph 11.4. The Speaker, it has the heading Appointment of Office of Chief Directors. The Speaker, with your leave and your permission, I want to read.
Honourable Member, make your comment without necessarily reading.
The Deputy Executive Secretary of CLOSAC.
Honourable, the Hansard has captured it,
yes.
so make your point.
Mr. Speaker, for emphasis.
Make your point.
For emphasis. Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, make your point. It's already in the Hansard.
So I'm making my point, Mr. Speaker. I'm saying that for emphasis, you will notice that all the chief directors that have been appointed in the office are directors or members that have been seconded from other ministries, which CLOSAC feels and think that it is counterproductive. From outside the ministries, which CLOSAC feel that it is counterproductive and it is not building the morale of members of CLOSAC and members who have been serving and duly recognized to grow within the stages. The Speaker, I had wanted to raise the issue of Prague, but my senior Honorable Patrick Boma has raised it. Just to add that when you even look at the charges Prague charge per space for storage, the Speaker, is woefully inadequate. And I'll ask that if the House would the House or the Ministry will look at something very substantial that can help them also raise some funds to support their operations. That would be grateful. Mr. Speaker, in so doing, I want to recommend that the amount, I support that 97,170,966 Ghana cedis be approved for the office of the Head of Civil Service. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honourable Razak Adongo, it's now your turn to comment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the committee's report, but to re-emphasize the need for the state to pay particular attention to the preservation of very important records and data. Mr. Speaker, the issue of Prague has been a perennial problem. We have always complained that Prague is not being resourced enough to be able to keep our records. And in these contemporary times, data should be digitalized. We should not have data sitting on files in people's offices, and anytime we have leakages, we basically lose everything. Mr. Speaker, I agree with my colleague that Prague must have a database, but that database can sit at the National Data Center. And it is the very reason why we constructed a data center to house all our national data. So Prague should work towards, getting a space within the data center and be resourced enough to develop a database that can help us to store these data. On the issue of this, the government secretarial schools, Mr. Speaker, today, typewriters are no more in use. And those schools are basically secretarial schools that train people in the use of typewriters that we don't have them anymore. Stenographer secretaries are no more available, which means that we need to reform that institution to become a better institution for building capacity of the civil service. And there are several courses that can be provided in those institutions across the country so that the state can benefit from the productivity that it generates. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I would like to support the approval and adoption of the committee's report.
Yes, minority leadership. Minority leadership.
Mr. Speaker, you can put the question.
Very well. Majority leadership. Majority leadership, yes.
Mr. Speaker, I think you should put a question, please.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is as many as are in favor of the motion number 10 at page 11 of today's order paper, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted, and that this Honourable House approves the sum of 97,170,976 Ghana cedis for the services of the Office of the Head of Civil Service for the year ending 6. Honourable members have been prevailed upon to wear a reverse gear to take item numbered 910 once the minister is in our midst, before we move to item number 11. Yes, minister responsible for sports and recreation, item numbered 9B.
An act to establish the Ghana Sports Fund to provide sustainable funding for sports development in the country and sports for development, to provide for the management of the fund and for related matters.
Honourable members, the bill is read for the first time and referred to the Committee on Youth and Sports for consideration and reports. Yes, Deputy Minority Whip.
Mr. Speaker, I rise under Order 97.3. If the Minister can give us more.
Honourable Minister, in 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think
give
there is time
to
allocation for this. He can explain as much as he can. And we don't even have the copies.
Well, in this matter, I'm the manager of the time. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, which order did you say he's coming under? Mr. Speaker, may I refresh our memories of what Order 97 says? 97. Oh.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Yes, 97. Listen, Mr. Speaker.
What it means is 97.3.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 97.3. This is what 97 says. Don't worry, I'll get to 3. Yeah, okay, let me read 97.3. 97.3 is a short explanatory statement shall be made by the person presenting a paper. A paper. I repeat, a paper, where requested by the House or a member upon the presentation. Mr. Speaker, is it a paper that is being presented? Is it a paper? No. Read the interpretation provisions of the order, the standing orders. A bill is not a paper. A bill is not a paper. A bill is a distinct, document. It is not a paper. Mr. Speaker, so let's go to the interpretation clause and see if a bill is ever defined as a paper. Paper is reports and things in that category. A bill is a specific type of instrument that is introduced in this paper, in this parliament. So you cannot say that when a bill is introduced that there should be an explanation. A bill already has a characteristics which makes provision for what you are requesting for. A bill must have a memorandum. Is that okay? And it is that memorandum that explains. So, Mr. Speaker, he will not be able today to obstruct the Minister for Sports. He is out of order. and he should be ruled as such.
Honourable Member, I strongly believe this is not a matter for us to debate. Honourable Members, if you go to page 2 of our standing orders, bill means a draft of an act of parliament. Honourable Members, if we move to page 7, paper means a document other than a bill, constitutional or statutory instrument, or a petition presented to Parliament. Honourable Members, if we then move to the relevant order, Order 97, it states clearly, and if I may read, the relevant provision is 97.3. A short explanatory statement shall be made by the person presenting a paper where requested by the House or a member upon the presentation. Honourable Members, having looked at the definition of a bill at page 2 of the order paper, Order 6, and having looked at the same Order 6 at page 7, the definition of a paper, the conclusion is that a bill is not a paper for which a short explanation should be given at its presentation. I would accordingly sustain the objection by not asking the minister so to do.
Mr. Speaker, in so doing, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the standing orders, one thing I can say is that it is something that if the majority leader is saying that Order 97.3 doesn't comply, then, Mr. Speaker, I now come under Order 1633. Order 1633. Mr. Speaker, and with your permission, I read Order 1663. After the presentation of a bill, a member may ask the sponsor to offer a short explanatory statement on the bill, and the sponsor shall comply. Mr. Speaker, I so do so.
Very well. Having come under the appropriate order, then I will then proceed to ask the minister to give a short explanation to the bill being introduced. So, Minister, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker, it's quite clear that over the years, this House have had challenges to deal with many issues that affects funding in our sports generally. We have had instances where the ministry I superintend over has been described as a football ministry because funding is mostly secured to support just football, when indeed, when we talk about sports, it goes beyond football. There have been many attempts to put together a funding system that will enable the ministry execute its program by bringing on board many more sporting disciplines and supporting them. Cabinet, in its wisdom, gave approval for this bill to be submitted to Parliament for Parliament to consider it, so that for the first time, the country will have a sports development fund, a fund that will draw from many sources as indicated in the bill that has been laid before this House, that when approved, we will not have the challenges of funding our sports, and sports will grow to bring about development and support other progressive activities that we do in this country. Mr. Speaker, with these short words, I believe that this will suffice the request of the Deputy Minority Whip and the rules of the House. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We then move to item number 11 at page 11 of today's order paper. Chairman of the committee.
Right Honorable Speaker, I move that this Honorable House adopts the report of the Committee on Public Administration and State Interest on the allocation of the sum of 28,636,743 Ghana cedis for the services of the Public Service Commission for the year ending 31st December 2026. I so move.
Honourable Member, in doing so, please present the committee's report.
Honorable Speaker, in presenting the committee's report, I would just ask the Hazard Department to capture the entire report as having been read. And just some few comments, then I'll go to the actual figures. Honorable Chair, we have a situation where CLOSAC attended and still complaining about the single spine salary pay policy, where non-subvented entities are not on. And in answering this, the service told us that there's a proposal currently on table by the President to establish an emolument committee to solve this issue. And we just want to assure the House that we will follow up on that. Besides that, on this issue of appointing people to go on secondment at their respective ministries, and after doing that with no time, they are appointed chief directors of the ministry. And said it most often demoralize a lot of people who are due for promotion to take the chief directorship of their respective ministry. And when this continues, we are of the opinion that if we are not careful, in no time, the service will be politicized. So they admonish Parliament to step in order to address this issue. Right Honorable Speaker, on this note, I just want to recommend that the House adopts this report and approve the sum of a total of 28,636,743 Ghana cedis to enable the Public Service Commission implement its program and activities for the year 2026. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honourable Members, motion move result. Report presented. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I write to second the motion and make a short comment on the reports presented to the House. Mr. Speaker, I turn the attention of the House to page 10 of the report at 11.5 and 11.6. Mr. Speaker, every employer wants to maximize profits, and then every employee wants the better conditions of service. So there's a thin line that we need to strike a balance. By the end of the day, if there's productivity and profitability, by the end of the day, the employee will get what is due him or her. But the point is, people get to the point that they should be promoted. By the end of the day, they don't get a promotion. And they are also complaining that they engage people from outside the system and put them at the top of the institution. Meanwhile, people have progressed through the ladder of which they are due for promotion. Nobody will attend to them, and they'll bring new people from outside and make them directors, chief directors, and the rest. So these are some of the things as a nation we need to avert our minds to and make sure that those people who have gone through the ladder are promoted, what is due them is given, so that they will give out their best. When there's productivity, you talk about profitability. But you can't sideline the existing staff and bring people from outside the institution, promote them, and you see the workers will be agitating among themselves. So they will never give up their best. So these are some of the things we need to avert our minds to. So by the end of the day, the employees will give out their best, productivity will increase profitability, and then we'll give them what is due them. So the state must pay attention to all these things. We shouldn't take them as if they're government workers, they have security of tenure, so we don't care about their welfare. No. They sign performance contract every year, they give their KPIs, but they don't perform. And we have some institutions which are making losses, but they are being paid bonuses. How do you pay bonuses to an institution which is making losses? You pay bonuses when there's profitability. So these are some of the things we need to avert our minds to and make sure that state institutions are performing and we are getting the right returns from them. So, Mr. Speaker, with these few observations, I don't want us to meet here next year and be repeating ourselves in the same manner. Let's make changes. Let's reset our institutions. Let's make sure that there's value for money and people who are working for the state are also taken care of. So by the end of the day, they go home or they go on pension with good packages and they also give out their best. With this few observations, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honorable Asafoye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to also support the report. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I will only add a few points that was discussed at the committee level. Mr. Speaker, paragraph 11.2, delay in the confirmation of nominees of the president for appointment. Mr. Speaker, they raised the issue of the delays because these are statutory bodies, because the governing bodies are formed by the government, and most often than not, the delays affect them in performance of their duty. Mr. Speaker, they also raised paragraph 11.3, disparities in remuneration for public sector workers. Because when you look at some of the agencies, the departments, because of the single spine, some of them, their remuneration are not, commensurate with their positions and their titles. And I think if the House will look at this, whilst we are approving the sum of 28,636,743 Ghana cedis for the ensuing year for them, it will be helpful and grateful. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Honorable Vondi, are you up to contribute? Honorable members, those standing should kindly resume their seats. Yes, Honorable.
Speaker, you can put the question now.
Honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor of motion numbered 11 at page 11 of today's order paper, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. And that this Honorable House adopted the report of the Committee on Public Administration and State Interests and approve the sum of 28,636,743 Ghana cedis for the services of the Public Services Commission for the year ending 31st December 2026. Honorable members, we then move to motion numbered 12 at page 11 of today's order paper. Chairman of the committee. Chairman of the committee.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House adopt the report of the Committee on Parliamentary Affairs on the allocation of a sum of 1,619,443 Ghana cedis for the service of Parliament and parliamentary service for the year ending 31st December 2026. Mr. Speaker, in so doing, I pray that the table office capture the report as if it was fully read. Mr. Speaker, in presenting the report, the committee observed certain issues about the budget of the parliamentary affairs. Mr. Speaker, the committee observed that the 2024 budget allocation to Parliament was so small and inadequate, and as a result of that, a lot of operational challenges was faced by Parliament during the period. Mr. Speaker, the committee also observed that the absence of budgetary provision for the construction of constituency offices for members of Parliament was not catered in the 2020 5 budgets. Mr. Speaker, the committee again further observed that the Parliament submit a budget proposal for 4,626 million Ghana cedi for 2026, but this amount was reversed to 1,619 million Ghana cedi, which was so small to cater for the construction of constituency offices for members of Parliament in this respect. Mr. Speaker, the committee also observed that the budget allocation for Parliament has been so significant compared to the total government revenue for 2026 was that the 2026 budget made no provision for the construction of constituency offices for members of Parliament. And we therefore appeal to the Finance Minister in making provision for the mid-year budget. They should add a budget allocation for the construction of constituency offices for members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the committee also recommends that the House adopt the report and approve a sum of 1,690 million Ghana cedi, 19 million Ghana cedi, 43,000. Mr. Speaker, for the parliamentary,
619,643,682 Ghana cedis for the services of the Parliament and Parliamentary Service for the year ending 31st December 2026. Mr. Speaker, your committee met, and looking at the report, since immemorial, Parliament has not gotten its full allocation of the budgetary allocation always allocated to them. Mr. Speaker, we observe that sympathy without relief is like a beef without mustard.
A beef.
We are the chefs preparing the food to be put to the table. Yet, people are crying more than the bereaved. We don't get what is due us. If you look at the elevators, our sanitary rooms is nothing to write home about. Parliament proposed 4,626,812,367 Ghana cedis for the ensuing year, but it was given only 1,619, which should tell you that it's woefully inadequate. The committee is of the view that we must have a dedicated fund. If not the total revenue, it should be tax revenue. We should get a component, be it 0.5 or 1%
or 10%,
whatever. This house has to come together without any partisanship and make sure that we get what is due Parliament for Parliament to also work to have a conducive environment. Mr. Speaker, without much ado, I pray this House to support the committee to approve the sum of 1 billion 619 million 643,682 cedis. I so submit.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded, report presented, and it is for the consideration of the House. I will first give the floor to Honourable Kojo Apom-Nkrumah.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Just a few comments as I comment in support of the adoption of this report. First of all, Mr. Speaker, I think the subject of allocations to Parliament should be taken a lot more seriously by the executive than is being done now. There's a reason for which priority areas of this republic get a percentage of some revenue lines. The district assemblies get about 5%. Sectors that are important get a certain percentage. Get Fund gets a percentage of more or less sales revenue, as other sectors. The National Health Fund gets a percentage more or less of sales revenue. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, when it comes to Parliament, it is still at the discretion of the executive. And if you look at the amounts that are, first of all, appropriated year by year, it's woefully inadequate. For an arm of government that is responsible for legislation and, more importantly, oversight, the attention that is given to making budgetary allocations to Parliament should be taken a lot more seriously than it is being done now. And we would like to urge strongly on the executive to consider the proposal that a percentage of expenditure should be benchmarked to Parliament as an arm of government. Mr. Speaker, the second point is about strengthening the oversight function. We've made some progress in providing offices for MPs in Accra, here in the Job 600 precincts. But Mr. Speaker, as has been mentioned, MPs have to be meeting constituents in their living rooms, in their bedrooms, in their courtyards, in churches, and in mosques, because MPs still do not have the basic tools of an office and minimum staff in the constituencies to be able to attend to constituents. A lot of constituents complain that I'm looking for my MP, I can't find him, I'm calling him, I can't reach him. It's because we haven't provided a structured channel through which constituents can engage with their members of Parliament, which is an office for the member of Parliament, and at least some basic staff in the constituency to enable the member of Parliament's office function and serve constituents, whether or not he's outside the country or here in the chamber or some other place. And so, Mr. Speaker, it is a matter of priority that the executive, once again, is urged to consider as we head towards the mid-year review. Allocations are made for various other things. We've been approving billions and billions for several other ministries under the executive. But when it comes to the whole of Parliament, even to provide offices and basic staff in the constituencies so that we can serve our constituents, it is not being attended to. And it's something that needs to be taken a lot more seriously than is done now. Mr. Speaker, my last point. Even for this allocation that has been made, the persons in charge of the parliamentary service must ensure that they prioritize the utilization of this about 1.6 billion Ghana cedis. And so, Mr. Speaker, the Clerk of Parliament, who is the Chief Executive, and the persons in charge must ensure that this allocation is prioritized. Mr. Speaker, over a year now, ventilation in the offices of members of Parliament from 11th floor to some of the other floors is non-existent. And we speak about it often here in the chamber. The building is now becoming, for want of a better expression, useless because MPs can't sit in the offices and work because there's no ventilation. Basic things like printers, at least on a floor, so that if a member of Parliament and his research officer have done some research to come to the floor and do some work, sometimes you literally have to go to Osu to go and print because as an institution, we haven't provided basic things like printers, at least on the floors. And so, Mr. Speaker, for this allocation that has been made even, while we're saying it's inadequate, we'd like to urge on the Chief Executive and his officers to ensure that the usage is prioritized and that the basic things that must make that building function and MPs have the capacity to stay in and function should be done. It shouldn't all be used for traveling and allowances and other things, but should be used for providing basic things to help us work. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Yes, Honorable Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, I will endeavor to be very brief and to thank you for the opportunity to speak in favor of the motion for the approval of the 1.6 billion for the services of Parliament and the Parliamentary Service of Ghana. And Mr. Speaker, in doing so, to refer you to page 9 of your committee's report and to look at the matter raised in paragraph 9.2, constituency offices for members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this was before the parliamentary board that I had the privilege to serve. And the contemplation was that when these offices are constructed, MPs will have liaison officers who will relate between the constituency and MPs who are in Parliament. But Mr. Speaker, my contribution is just on one major issue. The Parliament of Ghana must assert itself and end the funding crisis. Everywhere in the world, Mr. Speaker, Parliament is referred to as being responsible for oversight, including budget oversight and financial oversight. The Honorable Minister for Finance, the Honorable Atuforsen, in his budget hinted about a value for money office. The Parliament of Ghana must complement him with the establishment of the budget office. Ghana needs two important offices. One, the executive is saying a value for money office. Parliament must also have the budget responsibility office. That is what is best practice. Then in concluding, Mr. Speaker, it is my thought that the Parliament of Ghana, because of our checkered past, 137, 137, 138, 106, 169, what is the role of Parliament when it comes to budget and financial statement approval? Mr. Speaker, this House has reduced itself to making comments. When budget is presented, what we do here is that we make comments, and then after the comment, we are told conclude on your comments. Nowhere in the world does a Parliament with the responsibility for oversight and a budget with comment and comment. So maybe the Constitutional Review Committee, if Mr. Speaker himself will guide it, must take interest in Article 179. Somewhere when it comes to supplementary estimate, you see definite words like approve. Parliament must approve. When it comes to 179, it's kind of present revenue and expenditure. I haven't seen anywhere in the world. Then, Mr. Speaker, finally, parliamentary diplomacy. In the whole of this report, I have not seen them dedicate a paragraph to tell us what you have been doing at the IPU, CPA, and other levels, ECOWAS Parliament and others. I'm sure proper way of accounting for the money would be to do that. But, Mr. Speaker, to pray on you that the Parliament of Ghana needs to sit right and end its own funding crisis. We should stop holding a calabash every time begging a Minister for Finance to make adequate resources to Parliament. When you say in all functionality that Parliament's primary role is to exercise oversight over the budget. This Parliament of Ghana since 1993 have been failing in that respect. I thank you.
Honorable Dr. Kabiru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to also support that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Parliamentary Affairs by approving an amount of 1,619,443,682 Ghana cedis for the year ending 2026. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to overflog the horse because the respected former leader and Minister for Education and also the former Minister for Information, Honorable Kojo Oponkuruma, have actually hit the nail right on the center of the head. Mr. Speaker,
we cannot be priding ourselves as the guardian of democracy. We cannot say that we have oversight over all arms of government when we are in the pocket of the executive, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the allocation of 1.6 billion out of a total request of 4.6 billion clearly is less than 40% of the ask. Mr. Speaker, if I'm asking for 4 billion and you are giving me 1.6 billion, you are basically putting me in your pocket and directing on how I should behave. That is basically what the executive is doing to Parliament. And we have sung this song for far too long, that we need to take complete autonomy. We need to take complete independence. Yet still, the budget comes before this House, we approve it, but we do not make any provision for ourselves, Mr. Speaker. Even when we make the exchequer, the minister responsible for finance brings a cap to say that you cannot go beyond 1.6 billion. Mr. Speaker, I think we cannot continue this way. And I think that if the Mr. Speaker comes to this chair and preach that we must ensure that we treat ourselves well, but a budget is coming before this hour and we cannot do anything about it, we sit and look at it, I think that we basically cannot perform our function, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is even more worrying development. They have talked about the fact that our ACs and our, what you call, lifters. So, Mr. Speaker, people with disability cannot access our offices. If I have a constituent who is disabled, he cannot access my office. 21st century, Mr. Speaker, the House of Parliament, because the escalators, the lifts are not working. Okay, they are not where the problem is. And we should not be, playing over it. Mr. Speaker, we should not be playing devil advocacy about this issue. Fortunately, Mr. Speaker, the minister responsible for finance and his deputies are members of Parliament. They are members of Parliament. They experience firsthand the difficulty members of Parliament are going through. But there seems to be some kind of diseases on the seat, that when you assume the minister responsible for finance, you forget all the problems that your own people were facing. I think we must probably do something about that, because it is for good reasons that we are happy that Mr. Ampim is a member of Parliament, that we are happy that Mr. Atufos and Dr. Kesel Atufos is a member of Parliament. But when they assume the seat, Mr. Speaker, they forget about their own members. How do we perform our roles with such an attitude, Mr. Speaker? So I would appeal that, as a matter of principle, mid-year is not far. It's not to incite this out against the executive, but to actually appeal that the executive must take a second look at how they treat Parliament. Mr. Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker mentioned about compensation for members of Parliament across the globe. Members of Parliament in other jurisdictions, in Nigeria, in Kenya, where we have democracy before some of those countries. Mr. Speaker, they are paid well. But members of Parliament are based to live with some paltry $2,000 to $3,000. And that is where you are going to depend on for the rest of your constituents. When in other jurisdictions, they are paid well. You pay your driver. Mr. Speaker, sometimes we will need to call the spade a spade, not a big spoon. And I think that the minister responsible for finance, mid-year, must revise it. However, let me probably commend them that our capital I think that, just to join my colleague and my senior, that this self must also show accountability, transparency in the use of our resources. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank you and to support that we approve the amounts so stated in the report for the committee, for the parliamentary affairs. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Kabiru. Yes. I thought the minister would be concluding.
Yes.
So, leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also speak in support of the approval of the estimate for Parliament. Mr. Speaker, sometimes it's very disheartening listening and seeing that Parliament has submitted a budget of 4,626,812. And the ministry, upon revise or engagement, said we should rather be given 1,619,464. That is about 35% of what Parliament is asking for. Deputy Minister for Finance, this is very bad that the institution Parliament that you belong to have submitted a budget, 100% of what they requested for, you only give them 35% of what they have allocated. Mr. Speaker, when you know very well that Parliament needs this money, Mr. Speaker, I am not in agreement with the fact that we should wait until mid-year budget for government to review the allocation to Parliament. I think that within this budget, they can be able to find a fiscal space to be able to increase the allocation to Parliament. You are buying 4 helicopters. We don't need 4 helicopters. You are buying 2 luxury jets. We don't need 2 luxury jets. So you should reduce the number of helicopters that you are going to buy, reduce the number of the presidential jet that you want to buy, so that Parliament will be able to have enough resources. Mr. Speaker, because of the inadequate releases of Parliament, and the executive want to control Parliament, now the president is dictating to members of Parliament. When the majority chief whip and the majority leader file or intend to file a private member's bill, the president is telling them to reduce it. Why? Their oversight, their rule as members of Parliament. Because of what? To withdraw. We have the official letter from the presidency to the members of Parliament. But he has instructed that you should withdraw it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the executive have no authority to dictate to what happened in Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Please continue.
Mr.
I will
Speaker,
appropriately give you the
Mr.
floor
Speaker,
to have
when
your
you
turn.
go into our offices, it is very sad that many members in our offices, our air conditions are not working. When you have a visitor, you have to look for another member office where the air condition is working to be able to entertain that visitor. Mr. Speaker, for more than 4 years, there has never been an occasion that the MP's lift, both lifts are working. It's either one is working or it is broken down. On many occasions, Mr. Speaker, you will be able to have to use the lift. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, was asking that there was no space to capture international organizations like IP and CPA. It is sad to report to you that even attending such international organizations, there's no money to go. CPA, Commonwealth Parliament Association, my colleague here, Honorable Jerry Ahmed, wanted to attend it in Barbados. They could not because Parliament could not fund it. There's no allocation of money. And there was no resources to be done. Mr. Speaker, it is very sad. Mr. Speaker, it is very sad to the extent that, Mr. Speaker, it is very sad that because we are not having releases, international organizations, many people could not. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, there are many occasions that the Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker, who attends Pan-African parliaments, many occasions he has to pre-finance. On many occasions, the first Deputy Speaker has to pre-finance his trip to Pan-African Parliament. The majority chief whip, on many occasions, has to finance his trip to Pan-African Parliament before he comes. Because of what? There is no releases to Parliament. And, Mr. Speaker, even sometimes microphones and committee offices are not working. Now we have a Minister of Finance who is a member of Parliament. We have a Deputy Minister of Finance who is a member of Parliament. And yet, the majority leader and the chief whip, you could not prevail on government to release funding. Now they are dictating to us. The Minister of Education is here. Throughout the year, they haven't given him money. So when you go to the Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu doesn't sit many a time in his office because they have not given him releases to take care of people. If you are not releasing monies to your ministers to work, how do you expect them to do? You do allocations to him to procure sanitary pad. When he procures, the contractors will be chasing him because you release money to him to pay. No, you have not paid them all. You have not paid them all. No releases have been done. And the allocations that are done for you, our students are here. They are giving you the sanitary pad and credit. The minister is here. He cannot pay for them. Mr. Speaker, the girls are here. Our student girls are here. They have collected the sanitary pad. The education minister cannot pay them. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I think that before appropriation, we need to look at Parliament budget again. You cannot give us only 35% whilst you are buying luxury jets, whilst you are buying helicopters, whilst you are allocating resources to places that you are not going to release that. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Azika Dongo.
No, Mr. Speaker.
I've given the floor to Honorable Azika Dongo. Is your name Honorable Azika Dongo? If your name is not Honorable Azika Dongo, kindly resume your seat. If you are not called Azika Dongo, please resume your seat. If you are not called Azika Dongo, resume your seat.
No, but
Honorable Richard Achampo, please resume your seat. Honorable Richard Achampo, resume your seat. Yes, Honorable Azika Dongo, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is true that Parliament needs a lot of allocations. But, Mr. Speaker, we cannot solve the problem of Parliament's allocation in 1 year. If previous governments had incrementally improved allocation to the Parliament of Ghana, we will not be having this conversation. Mr. Speaker, in 2024, our colleagues were here. The minister who presented the budget at the time was a member of Parliament. But they were quiet. They never understood that Parliament needed money. Today they know that Parliament needs money. Mr. Speaker, what is interesting is that there is a clear misleading information provided to this House. Mr. Speaker, the helicopters that they are talking about are not being paid 100% from 2025 budget. As a matter of fact, the first tranche is being paid in 2025. In 2026, 2027, up to 2028, those payments are going to be made. So they cannot be the reason why you are complaining about 2026. Mr. Speaker, it appears they have a debate that they have missed. And anytime anything comes here, they are on their feet to talk about private jet. That is not what we are discussing here. We are not discussing helicopters. That is gone. Mr. Speaker, I even heard somebody say that we are borrowing to go and buy private jet. Meanwhile, nobody is borrowing a penny to buy private jet. The people of Ghana are paying from our own resources. Mr. Speaker, if we were living in the period where every year we were borrowing $3 billion in this House, I am sure we would have had a better allocation to the Parliament of this country. But those who were borrowing $3 billion a year never restores Parliament. And they cannot seem now to be loving Parliament than those who are now trying to improve it. Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow people who decide to reopen debate and be discussing about allocations to Ministry of Education. Is that what we are discussing? What is the relevance of that allocation to the debate that we are having now? Mr. Speaker, I would like to urge that even though we all agree that Parliament needs to be properly resourced, we cannot sit here and allow people to use this debate to fight their own battles. Mr. Speaker, Parliament of Ghana must be resourced over time. And we have already missed 8 years of inadequate. And we do believe that our own finance minister, who is a member of this House, was once a leader of this House, would ensure that it will reflect in subsequent years. And by the time we leave office, I am sure he will now be hailed as the one who took steps to properly resource the Parliament of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I support the committee's report.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister may make a concluding remark. Well, Majority Chief Whip.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to the call that the House adopts the report and approve 1.619,643,682 Ghana cedis for the work of Parliament for next year. Mr. Speaker, we have some form of crisis in Parliament. Speaker, as an organ of state, we don't have a medical center. We have a clinic. Mr. Speaker, MPs and parliamentary service staffers, we are over 1,000. And yet, we only have a small clinic taking care of members. And we work overtime. So I was hoping that the committee would have looked into matters such as that. And it's a bother for us in leadership. It's so serious, Mr. Speaker. There has to be a proper provision for us to have a proper medical center. Speaker, you know how these issues come up and members have serious medical issues. So
Honorable member,
Speaker,
I will plead with you that certain issues are for housekeeping.
Mr. Speaker, I agree that it's for housekeeping, but I believe that the committee ought to have made provision for matters such as this. Mr. Speaker, I am happy that, pursuant of the House Committee's recommendation, we are making a provision for a robust cybersecurity apparatus. Our data is so exposed, and if you go to other sister parliaments, their cybersecurity issues are well protected. They have a proper framework for it, so I'm happy that some provision have been made for it. Mr. Speaker, as a house, we don't have an eating place. And I'm sad that the committee again didn't see. Last year I raised it. Members, Speaker, as part of the problems we have as whips, is that members after some time, the day Parliament does not make provision for lunch, they want to go and find breakfast, they want to go and find supper. So the House must, as a matter of necessity, begin to make provision for a facility where members can have an eatery. They can go in, pay for food, and come back to the House and participate in the issue. It's completely missing from the matters that we are considering for next year. And it's a bother for me as part of leadership. Speaker, the other matter I want to raise, which has not been captured, is that for a couple of years now, Mr. Speaker, we've been trying to rehabilitate our police post. When we are entering Parliament from the western flank, that is the police post that we have. And I was hoping that this year would have finished it and give it some ambience. It's one of the first structures you see when you are entering Parliament. There's no provision for it. And so that structure, again, will remain like that. And the policemen have been moved to a facility that is not supposed to serve as a police station. And so, Chairman of the committee, it's a bother that, again, we haven't made provision for the completion of that facility. And it's not good enough. Mr. Speaker, let me again commend the committee in this regard for making provision for the completion of the museum, which is very good. And also, finally, the issue of the MP's constituency office. I want to urge the finance ministry to treat this matter as a matter of some serious concern for Parliament. That members, some provision is made for members to have an office to operate from. Speaker, I'm aware of your situation. When you visit home, the way people besiege your house, and on other occasions when you go, it's not the best. You need a facility to be able to meet your constituents and transact some business. Speaker, finally, let me add that the issues as raised by other members concerning the approval for Parliament is very important. So, Minister of Finance, you are one of us. We want to encourage you to do what we call timely releases. Once the releases come timely, I'm sure Parliament will be able to undertake some of these critical projects so members can be more effective to operate from their offices and to also perform the functions of their office. Speaker, with these words, I urge the House to adopt the report presently before us. I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have listened to...
In your concluding comment, take into consideration the concerns expressed by honorable members regarding all the issues under consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is exactly what I'm doing. And I want to say something for the record, that I have sat here and have listened to honorable members debate on estimates for many of the MDAs. And consistently, members have made a case for us to increase allocation to many MDAs. So it is not as though it is a new thing and that members are advocating only for Parliament. I want that important statement made. I also want to place on record that it is quite impossible to allocate in accordance to the wish list of any of the MDAs. So for members to compare that Parliament requested for 4 billion and we have given 1.6 billion is not entirely the right comparison. The right comparison I want us to do, and I say it is not entirely right because it cuts across all MDAs. Almost everybody requested huge amounts. But looking at what is available in the basket, we have tried to allocate equitably to support every agency. We have not been able to meet the request from the executive. We haven't been able to meet the request from the judiciary,
so,
and it is the same.
Honorable Deputy Finance Minister, what was the request of Parliament and what was the proposed release?
Members mentioned over 4 billion.
Because you are saying that is not right.
No, that is not something that can be met. Mr. Speaker, I want to draw your attention to this, that in 2023, government allocated 639 million cedis to Parliament. That amount went to 1,022 million in 2024. In 2025, it was increased to more than 1.1 billion cedis. And Mr. Speaker, this year, 2026, we have increased the allocation by over 45%, from 1.1 billion to 1.6 billion cedis. Mr. Speaker, no other MDA has received this quantum increase in the allocation in 2026. So when you refer that the Minister for Finance and his deputy are both members of Parliament, and so they should look favorably to Parliament, I am telling you, we have looked more favorably to Parliament than you could have done during your era. Mr. Speaker, also another important thing to note, look at the allocation in 2025, 1.1 billion. By September this year, we have actually released 816 million cedis to Parliament. So it is not only the allocation, releases to Parliament too has improved significantly. What is remaining is just about 200 plus million, and that has also been released. I'm telling you that we have released the full allocation to Parliament, something that never happened. What I want us to support is the call that was made by Honorable Kojo Oponkroma. Let us all be prudent in the utilization of the meager resources to all of us. I have heard all of us, and I have also experienced the difficulties we have in our offices. I'm also a member of Parliament. I sit there and I also bear those difficulties. What commitment I want to make to the House is that in 2026, we will also be prompt in our releases to Parliament, just as we've done this year. Our appeal, and Clark keeps mentioning CAPEX. CAPEX allocation has increased from 80 million to 300 million in 2026. We will make sure we release them to you so that you fix all the problems that members are talking about. Mr. Speaker, I want to give you assurance on behalf of Dr. Kesila Tofosin that we will make sure that we release funds to Parliament so Parliament will continue to do the good things that you've been doing for Mother Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, can we have some order in the House? All honourable members standing should kindly resume their seats. Particularly those who are turning their back to the maize. Honourable members, kindly resume your seats. Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion number 12 at page 11 of today's order paper, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted, and this House approves the sum of 1,619,643,682 Ghana cedis for the services of Parliament and parliamentary service for the year ending 31st December 2026. Yes. Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, may I pray that we take motion number 49 on the order paper, Mr. Speaker.
Are we the ones moving it? The education minister should move it. It's your bill.
Let's do the Speaker. Speaker, may I pray that instead of motion number 49, may I pray that we go to order paper addendum and take motion number 2, Mr. Speaker. That will be the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2025 report from the committee. Thank you.
Motion number 2 on order paper addendum. Page 1. Minister for Transport. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't think I have anything against that proposal, but yes, you have to seek consent. We are both here trying to ensure. I don't have
Your point is well noted. The application is to take motion 2 on the order paper addendum. Let me hear from the Deputy Minority Leader.
I mentioned that I don't have anything against
Very well, very well, very well. Yes, Minister responsible for transports. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that motion number 2 on the order paper addendum be moved today. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Motion for second reading of the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2025 is moved. May I call on the chairman of the committee to present the committee's report?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I second the motion.
Honourable member, at second reading, you don't second the motion. You present the committee's report. That is why I call on you to present the committee's report.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I present your committee's report, and I request that the Hansard section captures the entirety of the report, whilst I focus on some key areas. Right Honourable Speaker, your committee met and deliberated extensively on the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2025, and we are convinced that what is being requested for is something that this committee recommends to the House for adoption and be passed into law accordingly. Right Honourable Speaker, the bill provides the framework, the basic framework for drunk driving, the control for tricycles. Right Honourable Speaker, so the bill provides the framework to check against drunk driving and provides the regulations for tricycles, the use of tricycles and quadricycles and so on. It also ensures that
Remember, in conclusion, Hansard has captured all.
And in conclusion, the committee recommends to the House to adopt the report and pass the bill into law in accordance with Article 106(13), Article 106(13) of the Constitution, 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Thank you.
Yes, ranking member of the committee. Motion moved, report presented.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make a comment on the report which has just been presented by my chairman. Mr. Speaker, this amendment bill have been on the drawing board for a while now. I remember in the 8th Parliament we tried to work on it. We couldn't work on it. Finally, it has come to the House for us to work on it and pass it so that it becomes a law to assist the DVLA to be able to carry out their mandate. Mr. Speaker, these amendments, if passed by the House, will address critical lapses in the existing law as we speak. There are some activities that the law does not cater for, and we believe that this law, when passed by the House, will help resolve those or address those issues. Mr. Speaker, currently you see that there are lapses in the safety regulatory framework in the country. And this law, in this bill, when passed, will be able to help the National Road Safety Authority to address critical safety issues or road transport and safety issues in the country. I believe it is within our remit to ensure that this is done so that the DVLA will be able to carry out their mandate without any restraint or any difficulty. So, Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to just thank you
for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Ranking Member. Yes, Honorable Richard Achempo.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I want to speak to the report on the floor. Mr. Speaker, this is the right time for us to do this amendment, and I call on the ministry to also make sure that the agencies that we are trying to help put this law for them to implement, make sure that the right things are done. Mr. Speaker, we need discipline on our rules. So even going forward, there must be a dedicated lane for motorcycles, other users, buses, and the rest. But sometimes, especially rush hours, you see buses are trying to use their lane, and other users are trying to also cross that same lane, creating unnecessary traffic on our roads. And sometimes, especially when traffic lights are on, the red lights are on, motor riders, they think they don't care about it. It doesn't affect them. If you see them driving, if you are not careful, you crash onto them. So, Minister, please, Minister, pay attention to this. Deploy your security officers. Make sure that there is sanity on our roads. Because by the end of the day, you have your car worth millions of cedis or dollars, and somebody will use an Okada or a motor bike worth 1,000 or 15,000 Ghana cedis, just crash with you, and even that motor cycle is not registered. You can't identify the person, and the person will just drive on or ride on. These are some of the things we need to address. We need them. Okada is not a problem that I'm talking about. Even in 2098, 99, I was in China, Beijing, and they were using a tricycle, a motorbike. If you want to go to the market, you don't need to pick a taxi. They have even like a bicycle, which can contain about 2 or 3 people. You sit at the back, and the woman will be riding you. So this is not a new thing. The most important thing is that dedicated lanes for them. That certain places you can't use those motorbikes. So let's put measures in place, regulate them, make sure whoever offends the law is punished. So there will be sanity on our roads. Because even when you're going to the airport or you have a business to attend and you are stuck in the traffic, sometimes we leave our vehicles and we jump onto motorbikes and we attend those programs. So we shouldn't pretend as if they are not serving us. They are serving our interests. But let's put the laws in place, make sure they are regulated, they are registered, they are licenses. You see people wearing sandals and riding motorbikes. How? You can't do that. So these are some of the measures we need to put in place. But Okada has come to stay.
Honourable Member, conclude.
Whether we like it or not, it has come to stay. Let's regulate them. Let's make sure there's sanity. We have the laws to protect them. They've insured their motorcycles. Whoever is riding it is insured. So when there are accidents, the insurance company can also compensate them. These are some of the things we need to put in place. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity. Okada has come to stay. Let's work with it. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Dr. Kabiru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate that this bill is in honor of a promise made by the President, and the principle behind it was the fact that the President promised, and the Minister for Transport is trying to deliver on that promise to regularize the operations of motorbikes for commercial purposes. Mr. Speaker, the
Honourable Member, which aspect of the report are you speaking to?
Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking to the purpose of the purpose after observation agency. They are talking about the integration of cycles urban transport system. And if you read page 8, it captures the government, it captures the essential point I'm trying to convey, to the effect that the committee observed the increasing use of motorcycles, tricycles, quadricycles, and similar motor vehicles on major roads has created safety risks for both riders and other road users. Mr. Speaker, this is what this particular bill seeks to regularize or seeks to put in regulatory framework to guide the operations of Okadas. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm on all fours when I make the point that it is in fulfillment of a campaign promise. Mr. Speaker, the phenomenon of Okada is not new in Ghana. In fact, in Africa, in Kenya, there's what we call the border operators. Mr. Speaker, the system was created, but it has also developed into a chaotic situation in Kenya. And I'm just worried that the minister probably might have gone to Kenya and might have studied their system and to see whether they can prevent the fallout of such a system. Because much as we want to make sure that our roads are safe, we want to make sure that Okada operators are able to do it within the legislative and legal framework, we must also be aware of the unintended consequences of such legalization. And that is the point I want the minister to address, even in this bill, how it will address the pollution issues, how it's going to address the issue of the chaos that is going to create. Because, Mr. Speaker, Kenya is now having to deal with the hazards of such a system. That is the problem they are now facing. And I think that it's a noble idea that our people, our brothers and sisters who are using this to fend for themselves and livelihood issues, they must be regulated. But my only fear, Mr. Speaker, and I want the minister to assuage this particular fear, is that the problems we're having in Kenya will rear its ugly head in Ghana if we do on wholesale legalization of the operation of this particular. Mr. Speaker, the last thing I want to comment on is the age limit. The committee is proposing that for you to even be recognized to operate a commercial motorbike or tricycle or quadricycle for the purposes of earning a living, you must be 21 years and above. Mr. Speaker, this is a difficult balance. The rationale for that is that the formative age of a person is supposed to be in school, and that you will not want someone who should be in school rather going to fend for himself. Mr. Speaker, some people at age 20 begin to take care of themselves. They decide that at that particular age, the only time we say education is compulsory is a free basic and secondary school education, Mr. Speaker. People are in the university at age 18. What becomes of them if they are not going to the university? They cannot make a living for themselves. And I think these are also policy issues that the ministry will have to consider and the government will have to consider. I think that we may not have to put a feather. Once a person is of majority, once the person is actually at a particular age, he can do a meaningful, decent work, we should make it open for them to be able to, pursue that level. And I think that unless, of course, there's a better argument, we must have to look at it even before we go to consideration stage where we're having to look at this particular proposal. With this few words, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity and to wish the government well and to say those who have said Okada has come to stay. There's no opposition whatsoever from this particular side on operation of Okada. It is not the intention of members of the MPP to prevent people who want to make a decent livelihood through the use of Okada. It is not our intention whatsoever. As a matter of fact, our constituents are also part of those involved in it. So it is not something that you want to take credit fully for.
Member, in conclusion.
But we will support you. But we are cautioning you that you have to do it and do it well. And on this, with this view, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, minority leadership.
Thank you for this opportunity. Speaker, of being on the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Board and also served as an acting board chair. And Speaker, throughout the period, the kind of accidents that involved largely motorcycles. On a daily basis, Speaker, most of them ended up being fatal. Most of them. And Speaker, it is not just as a result traffic lights are working or not working. Largely, you see motor riders end up knocking them. Speaker, they've also been situations that most medians, the grass may have grown to the extent that when you are even a driver, a vehicle driver, and you are unable to see the other side of the road, you may end up knocking a motor rider. And Speaker, where billboards have also been fixed indiscriminately without recourse to metropolitan or municipal regulations as to how they should be managed or be fixed. Speaker, as I speak with you, I have the statistics, and if you may respectfully permit me, I'll just share with you a few with reference to road accidents. They have, between January to August 2025 alone, Speaker, accidents that claimed lives of people. Speaker, within Accra alone is 1,917. Speaker, when you go down there, it says that, and we've had 16,348 vehicular accidents. Vehicles involved seriously injured. Speaker, and then he goes on to tell you that for motorcycles alone, in Ghana, generally, this is not only restrained to or referring to only Accra, 4,186. Speaker, if you go to Kolebu Teaching Hospital, I have been a witness, and the way and manner their legs are being chopped off, it's terrible. You can have a conversation with the head of department or head of emergency, Dr. Kwatin, and he will tell you. And Speaker, most of the time they are unable to even pay for their surgeries because their surgeries are very expensive. You end up putting all manner of bolts and nuts and all manner of metals in their legs and in their knees. And this is what is happening. Drunk driving, the brighter side is that we can just not be sitting here and be thinking that because we have made a promise, we are pushing it. Let us be holistic. Let us be comprehensive. Let us be thinking about the people. And how do we do so? Let us think of how to even train them and educate them so that when they are on the motorbikes, you will know that there are lanes for motorbikes. That the police officers, when they arrest these motorcycle users, in our intervention as members of parliament or politicians, we should also be careful. Speaker, if we do not take care of some of these things, and we only are looking at the issue of drunk driving, and we are not preparing the people as to how to use helmets, the speed limits, where they should drive, where they should not ride to, when they should respect that the traffic light is red and they need to stop, and we do the usual politics, Speaker, we would have ourselves to blame.
Let me indicate that at second reading, we debate the principle. If we look at the bill comprehensively, all that you are talking about is the very essence to which they are making the law. There is even the prescription of the kind of helmet that they are supposed to use. There are protective mechanisms in the bill. Honourable Member, you may continue. I just want to draw your attention to the memorandum and the body of the bill.
Speaker, fortunately, thank you very much. Fortunately, I've perused that and I see all of that. But Speaker, you know the problem here. It is not just a matter of what you are providing. It's a matter of the implementation. Speaker, there are several motor riders who are keeping their helmets just behind their seats. And why do we think that that is going to change? Because we are now putting in new mechanisms. It's the implementation, and Speaker, that is my view.
Yes, I'm not taking part in the debate, all right, but I feel strongly that because there is no legal regime regulating that particular sector, things are flexible. That is the reason for which, if this law is put in place, there will be a legal regime to regulate, which will lead to a reduction of the issue that you are stating.
I agree, and I concur 100%. Speaker, just to round up, the statistics I have from MTTD, according to their data, 10,734 accident cases were recorded across all 25 police regions between January and September 2025. 9.31% increase compared to 9,820 cases over the same period last year. That is humongous. That is huge. So it is up to us as lawmakers to think about the fact that we are not here just to ensure that a promise made during an electionary campaign is carried out, but we should carry it out to the levels of thinking of the welfare of our people, so that if they are voting for you, they will still be alive to be able to vote for you. Speaker, with this, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Yes, I will give the floor to Honorable Haji Aladi, then I'll come to leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I have listened carefully to my colleagues, especially Honorable Jerry, on the points that he has made. And just as you have rightly stated, basically, all that you have mentioned have been discussed in the bill. And we all understand that if there is a law regulating people, definitely each and every one of us, including the authorities, will make sure that these people adhere to the law. Mr. Speaker, earlier on it was mentioned that maybe the minister has looked at the issue of Kenya. It's not only Kenya. When you go to Rwanda, they use a lot of motorbikes. They don't have specific roads, but they obey the law, they listen, and they do what is expected of them. So you do not find anything like accidents and what have you. Yes, even vehicles, the lorries that we use, the vehicles that we use, name them, we do have accidents. And we understand that every human institution has got at least some lapses. Every organization has got some lapses. Doesn't mean that if we put the law in place, there will not be any lapses. The training you have spoken about is part of the discussions that we made. Even trackers will be put on these motor vehicles. We would make sure that we have even said it in the law that they must have seat belts to ensure that they are strapped. Now, Mr. Speaker, there was a mention of age. We discussed this just yesterday during the committee's meeting, ensuring that we looked at it that after 18 years, maybe there are people who are ready to work. But we also looked at the formative ages, and then we said, okay, if we give the opportunity to someone for his education, his or her education, maybe at 18 years to 20, that person will be decided on what to do. Then the person can now go in, if he or she wishes, to do Okada. That one is not an issue of the president or someone taking the credit for it. Whether we regulate it or not, it is something that is happening out there. So it's better we put in place a law, make sure the rules and regulations are there, and then we take it up from there. With the issue of roads, where they may be riding, we cannot go back to initiate roads before we put the regulation there. The way forward is that as we implement this law and give them the opportunity, then any road that is to be constructed, we should also be looking at that side road where motorbikes would be able to take move on, or even pedestrians. Because while we are talking about these motor vehicles, we are also talking about pedestrians. So I think that when you go into the nitty-gritties of the bill, all that you have said are contained in it. And I believe that it's not an issue of a policy that was mentioned by the president, we trying to implement it. It is an issue that is living with us, and we must make sure that we look at a way of handling it to better the lives of all of us. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Honourable members, with all due respect, I want to put a question. At the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion number 2 on other paper addendum, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2025 is duly read for the second time.
An act to amend the Road Traffic Act 2004 at 683 to provide for the use of motorcycle, tricycles, and quadricycles for commercial purposes, the development of standards for seat belts and other safety equipment, and for related matters.
Honourable members, as indicated, the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2025 is now duly read for the second time. Honourable members, I will take 2 minutes suspension, then we'll come back and continue proceedings.